So as you can see from the title of the video, this one's going to be Summer Spicy Sizzlers. What does that mean? Well, quite obviously they're just spicy fragrances that work nicely in summer, I suppose. Summer here is not like summer elsewhere, so you can get away with wearing a bit more of a heavy or if you like, a spicy fragrance. And that's all it really is. It's nothing weird or out there or fantastically unique, just kind of spicy summer fragrances. Let's just get started. First is Nawab of Oudh from Ormonde, Jayne. Now this fragrance is it's not the easiest to describe, but in a gist, it's kind of, to me, it's like them. I've always said, my friend used to bring me these kind of breath sweets back from Pakistan, and they were like little spices in a packet, and they kind of freshen your breath in there. So I'm not sure what's listed in this fragrance, but it's kind of these menthol in some ways spices, like you know, anise, fennel. There's drier spices. I'm not sure if cumin was in there, but it was all kind, you know, caraway, that sort of thing. And Nawab of Oudh kind of reminds me of that. Now the spices are the main feature of the fragrance, but also in there is off the top of my head, I think there's rose in there, but it's not a rose fragrance. It just gives that little bit of a floral thing. And there's obviously an oud accord or an oud note, which again, it's not an oudy fragrance. It just gives that grounding in the base with the woods, and it's just it's all them things, but it's got this certain kind of fresh, breezy, refreshing feel to it, and it's just a really classy, easy wear. There's nothing in it to dislike it. I think there's more than lightly cardamom in it. Again, if you need the listed notes, go look them up, but this is kind of what I get from it. And in a way, the notes don't really tell the tale of it, do they? It's just a fresh, spicy, vibrant, woody one, and it's just really nice and really easy to wear. Could be summer days, summer nights, dressed up, dressed down. It's just a very good fragrance. I think there's also, although I don't smell it, Ormonde Jayne uses a lot of isoe super and things like that, and there potentially is in there, but like I say, I can't smell it. But I imagine that gives it that kind of, pushes it out with that kind of cloud that I believe that's supposed to do. So yeah, that's Nawab of Oudh from Ormonde Jayne. Next is from Frederic Malle. And again, you'd probably say, well, this is a more warmer weather one. I disagree. That's Musk Ravageur from Frederic Malle. Now, don't know how old mine is. It's certainly not a brand new formulation. It's kind of mid in that way, and it's kind of like a gourmand spicy one that isn't really gourmand. It's just the vanilla is quite prominent in it, and again, it's lots and lots of spices. I think, again, I'm not sure what's listed or anything, but maybe caraway more than cumin. And the caraway, it doesn't smell or taste exactly the same as cumin at all, but it has a slightly more savoury aspect to it, and I suspect it adds to the more kind of animalic little leaning of Musk Ravageur, which obviously the musks do a lot of that. But it is, all being told, in the end, it's a kind of rugged vanilla one. It's not a cakey vanilla one. It's kind of a rugged, smooth vanilla one with all them spices and musks, and it gives it this kind of more sensual feel to it, and it's very nice. But it's the spices that definitely make it. I think we all know what Musk Ravageur is by now. That there are woody aspects and woody elements in there, but it is primarily spices. So that's Musk Ravageur from Frederick. Next is one I've mentioned an awful lot of late, and it does fit a lot of categories, to be fair, and that's Chanel's Coco. On a steaming hot day, which it isn't today by the way, it looks like it but it's not, perhaps not, because it would be too much, but on a summer's night or a cooler summer's day, it's magnificent. Again, that what makes this one is the ton of spices. Cloves is also in Musk Ravageur, sorry, but anyway, for this one, cloves is kind of your main spice, and there's a lot more going on in there. There's some floral aspects in there. You don't particularly pick out specific florals, it's more that vintage floral feel. It's Chanel, so there is a little pop of citrus, doesn't really last long, it's not worth mentioning. And then there's the resins in the base. I think there's myrrh, I think there's some perhaps styrax, something like that, and benzoin. And again, it's got that kind of smooth, woody, spicy feel with the florals, which just takes it, makes you think of the 80s, makes you think, you know, kind of classic opium. It's not the same, but it's that same sort of vibe, and it's magnificent. Like I say, more summer nights or cooler summer days for this one, but for that bit of class and that bit of more sensual kind of enjoyment, this is up there. That's Coco from then from Joe Malone, I've gone for Pomegranate Noir, again as a more spicy one, because again cloves are one of the most prominent spice in this. It's kind of a bit of a theme with all of these, isn't it? And the cloves mixing with, I say it's not listed, but blackberry, is it plum or something like that's the kind of other listed main note, and obviously there's a bit of pomegranate in it. Wouldn't say particularly get pomegranate, maybe a nice sharp fresher fruity feel in there with it, but it's them darker fruits, the that blackberry in my mind, and it's probably not plum, but it'll flash up on the screen. It's kind of a purpley, darker, richer fruitiness, again with a ton of spices which lift it and give it this kind of vibrancy and this spark and this interest that you get from spices. And then obviously woody base. Is it potentially cedar wood, I'd say, in the base of this one, so it has that more of that woody edge, and there's some musks, but it starts off juicy and then it gets more kind of purpley spicy and then dries down, a kind of woody fruity one. The fruits still kind of linger through it, and it's perhaps like a summer evening one because of that kind of purple fruity smell about it. Very enjoyable. So that's Pomegranate Noir from not Ormonde, Jayne, Joe Malone. The next is a kind of a very famous one, and I'm talking about the old version of this, pre-formulation, and none of the flankers but Spicebomb. Now Spicebomb is as the name suggests, is primarily, I think it's pink pepper and cinnamon that kind of sing through it all, and there's some floral aspects in there that don't really stick out, but they're kind of in there. And then the base, the woods and that, so it's kind of a red smelling, sweeter, spicy. There might be some sort of chili spice in there as well, which gives it a bit of heat, and it's just this very lovely, classy, elegant one. And in the old days it really did kind of sing, and it wasn't the most unique, there was things similar to it, but it's certainly the best of that style. And this one again, a good daytime one, a good evening kind of dressed up one. For me, the extreme was the other flankers just don't, whatever, but the extreme kind of ruined it for me. The vanilla and the stuff kind of took all what made it Spicebomb away from it. So it's a good easy one, a good kind of starter fragrance. It's not particularly cheap, is it? I don't think now, and I have smelled a more recent version, and again it's just ain't what it used to be. So it's Spicebomb from Victor and Rolf. Because I've done Spicebomb, I'm going to put Man in Black in, and they're often compared together. Has a similar sort of spicy profile to it, but the florals are a lot more. It's tuberose in this. It's not an overly flowery tuberose. It's more that just that sweet sensual floralness about it, rather than big petally flowers and what have you. And it works really nice. There's a little lick of leather underneath, which adds that kind of bit of class. And obviously I think there's a woody vetiver in this one. So it's a similar spicy profile to Spicebomb, but it's just got a lot more about it. It's a lot more interesting. And again, this will be a dressed up kind of summer one, you know. You're in your smart short sleeve white shirt, you know, and smart trousers, jeans, etc. And then the same for the evening. It will be a dressed down but going out evening kind of fragrance. The leather is really what makes this with the tuberose, and that's kind of the bit. It will always be compared to Spicebomb, but they're not really the same. Just a similar kind of sweet, spicy element about it. So that is Man in Black from Bvlgari. So yeah, next is from Kilian, and it's Intoxicated, which is well, basically it's this big cardamom and nutmeg kind of coffee bomb. It's really quite amazing. Some people get more of the cardamom, some people like me in the beginning get a lot more of the nutmeg, and it's quite explosive. It certainly is a very spicy one, and it's kind of perfect for a summer's night. Now as it develops, the version I have is it kind of becomes a bit like a mocha really. The spices kind of linger through it, and it's kind of a warm, it's almost a fresh coffee in a funny kind of way. And it's just a spicy coffee thing, and it does dry down on me to be a little bit more on the chocolatey side. Now I have sprayed the latest formulation that, of course, Estee Lauder would say has definitely not been reformulated. Oh, it's like, do you remember back in the old days you used to be able to get a coffee from one of them machines where you put your money in and you press a button and it go and you get this kind of plastic cup of brown water? Yeah, with some kind of a little, you know, someone's just dashed a bit of nutmeg, you know, it's passed some cardamom on the way there, and it's kind of got this implication that there might have been coffee in there one day. It ain't the same. So if try an older version if you can, if you've never tried this one and you're interested in it. Anyway, that's Kilian's Intoxicated. Next is one that was going to be in here, and that's Yves Saint Laurent's Nuit De L'Homme. And this is, we all know what this is now, but again it's a summer perfect one really. The spicy, it used to be what you'd wear on a date night or something, but I think in the warm days, in the heat, as long as you don't go too over the top with it, it's lovely. It's cardamom, lavender, some woods and whatnot, you know, there's a bit of vetiver in the base, all that jazz. It's basically this kind of sweet, intoxicatingly beautiful, sensual kind of cardamom with the aromatic sweetness there. And the woods play a nice role in this. I'm getting midgey to death here, and it's very beautiful. It's very easygoing. It is very much of that era, you know. It's very much got them all them notes that we love from that time, when the cardamom, the touches of citrus, and they were like warmed up citrus things, weren't they? Spicy citrus, and then cardamom, which has always been about, obviously had its moment in that era. Beautiful fragrance. Don't need to waffle on about it, we know what it is. Perfect for a summer's day or a summer's night. Nuit De L'Homme from Yves Saint Laurent. And finally on the list, it's a gifted fragrance this. It's from Matiere Premiere and it's Encens Suave. Now you're wondering why I've picked this. Now it is primarily an incense fragrance. It's a very bright, cooling, soothing incense to me, with a lovely bitterness from the coffee which kind of develops. And in there, I couldn't tell you what spices they are off the top of my head. Again, I think there's cardamom and sort of something like that, something a bit peppery in there as well, although that could be coming from the incense. But it smells of like burning, cooling incense sticks and that, and it's one perfect for a hot night or again through the day. You primarily think this is a winter scent, but I don't agree. I think in the heat it really works. Again, don't go over the top, but because of that soothing coolness through the fragrance, again coming from the spices in it, it's really quite lovely. And again, it's not going to be something everybody else is wearing. It's interesting, and I think people smelling this on you will kind of find it interesting and soothing even. So it's a lovely incense one, with the spices, like I say, a perfect summer sizzler, spicy summer sizzler. So that's Matiere Premiere's Encens Suave. So yeah, like I say, quite a strange video for the summer, isn't it? But spicy, I mean, again, like I've explained before, British summers are an unusual thing. I wouldn't call them hot or consistent or whatever. It's a bit of everything. Generally speaking, it's very mild and cold. But the spices really do shine in the hot weather. You've got to think of places like India and the Middle East. They'll wear very spicy scents in the heat, which probably smell absolutely magnificent in real heat, and they just kind of suit them. And I know I don't have a vast wide collection of spicy fragrances. I think they all work. Plus, you know, it's a video. It's not many. I've never seen one like this. So if you're one of them people who's wondering what to wear in the summer heat, here's a video for you. Don't listen to me. Go try them yourself as well and that. But yeah, what about you? What's your favourite kind of spicy scent in the heat? Do you have a particular spice that you love, that you really think suits it? Like cardamom is quite obviously an easy kind of one to say, isn't it? Because it can be very refreshing and what have you. Anise, fennel, that sort of thing. So yeah, alright folks, thanks for watching and bye.